I don't want this to happen ever again. I can't even find the word to condemn them. Takes out his shotgun and points it right at his head. He says, "You have Jews. I want your Jews."
She asked them, I have a Jewish boy, and can you take him in your house? And my grandparents said, bring the boy here.
This is my mother's grave. This is where she's buried. This is where she died. And I hope that I can be part of your family. I'd like that very much. See, I'm 67 years old, and I am one of the youngest survivors. So I have a lot of work to do.
His name is Heinzi Blumenstein, and by all rights, he should have come through this gate here at Auschwitz, never to return, a victim of Adolf Hitler's final solution. But Heinzi Blumenstein was able to come here as an adult, on an emotional journey, recreating his past, understanding why he is alive, and finding family.
Welkom, in de naam van de Vader, van de Zoon en van de Heilige Geest. Amen.
It was a place that really meant a lot to me. I enjoy church. I still enjoy church.
On a frigid December morning in northern Holland, nothing drowns out the wind like 10 o'clock.
Dat haar ongerechtigheid vergeven is.
In the pews this morning, a former member of this congregation recalling 60 years ago.
I sat very much like a good Catholic boy.
He first came here in 1943, and if anyone asked, the adults who brought him, local farmer Johannes Dijkstra and his wife Sjalkje, would simply say the 7-year-old boy's name was Hans Bakker, and he was a visitor.
What made them do what they did, I can't explain it.
On this Sunday, Hans, or Henry, would be here trying to figure that out. What made two people good when so many around them were evil? And why those two people would allow him to walk down the church aisle, as an altar boy no less, wearing the ceremonial skirt, carrying the incense.
When I was an altar boy, I really put my heart and soul into it. I enjoyed it. But I never, ever called myself Catholic.
That's because Hans Bakker actually was Jewish. Real name, Heinzi Blumenstein. This was German-occupied Holland, and on Sundays in 1943, 44, and 45, Nazi soldiers in uniform at the back of St. Viro's Roman Catholic Church looked straight at a Jewish altar boy who was hiding in plain sight.
How conscious were you in church that you could be snatched out of there any second?
I was very aware of that.
Today, Heinzi Blumenstein is Henry Blumenstein, the name Americanized when the little boy made it to the United States after the war. Now retired, Henry was always a fighter for the team as a boxer in college, and a fighter for those in need during a long career as a social worker in Cincinnati. But this divorced father of two sons has had another fight as well, a fight to hide his past, even from his own children.
He was very hush-hush about it, and so was my mother. I mean, it really wasn't spoken about.
But it was always something I felt I was kind of dragging out of him, as opposed to something that he was freely offering.
It's sort of the persecuted mentality that, you know, when you're being persecuted, you need to hide. And I think these people, they continue to hide even after they didn't have to anymore.
Yes, my name is Heinzi Blumenstein.
But Henry is not hiding anymore. Revealing
Well, my
past
father
secrets
passed.
has become his therapy
And I'm a Holocaust survivor.
and his mission, educating school children with a missionary zeal that if he doesn't do it, it won't get done.
I can't live forever. God told me, Henry, you're not going to live forever. And I said, okay, God, you know. But while I'm alive and I'm healthy, I'm going to tell as many people about this. This is the worst thing that ever happened in the world, people.
Most of the children, like those here at Cincinnati's St. Ursula Academy, a Catholic girls' school, are not Jewish. They may know the outline.
The Holocaust is the war against the Jews.
They may not know the pain.
How many pictures you got of your family? Boxes full. How about you? With the glasses, yeah. A lot. Got a lot of pictures. Take them every year almost, right? There we are, mom and dad, brother and sister, right? It's the only picture I have of my parents together with me. It's the only picture I have together. There is no other picture existing that has my father, my mother, and me together. And in talking about the Holocaust, I want to tell you my story.
That story begins
This is a letter from my mother to my father.
with 200 letters.
Dated February 25th, 1941. Dearest Ferry, it is important that we do not lose hope.
One day we will be surprised and we will finally be together again. Thank God that in all respects, our golden child is growing up splendidly.
Henry found the letters in a trunk.
Very often he asks why his daddy is not with us.
He nearly threw them out, then took years to get them translated.
When we are with you, we will pitch in together and with God's help, build our second life.
That second life would never happen.
Oh my God, to my mother and me. Oh, she was so beautiful.
There is nothing like the bond between mother and child. Nothing.
How do they feel about each other? They love each other very much.
That's what Henry tells the students about his family. Born in Vienna, Austria in 1935, Father Franz, nicknamed Ferry, was an upper middle-class shop owner. Mother Elsa kept house and kept up with her growing son. Grandmother Regina lived with them, grandma on his father's side. Family, together.
When I was 3 years old, something happened in my country that stopped my life.
That something was Kristallnacht, Night of the Broken Glass, November 9th, 1938. Nazis burning 200 synagogues in Germany and Austria, destroying Jewish businesses, beginning full-scale persecution. What would end with 6 million murders started with an arm on the back.
My father was on the street, and he was suddenly, a hand was put on his shoulder, and he was turned around, and there was a Nazi soldier.
The order? Get in the truck.
He just disappeared.
And was given 3 days to leave the country, or else.
And if he didn't, they'd hunt him down and kill him.
Now, there was an ocean between them. Franz had ended up in Cuba, separated by thousands of miles, but not separated by hope.
I think my mother really, really believed that we could do this, that I would be raised by two parents. This was very important to her.
Vienna, April 19th, 1939. Dearest Ferry, well, today I can tell you something pleasant. Yesterday we booked passage for a ship that leaves on May 13th from Hamburg to Havana. It is called the St. Louis.
The St. Louis, a German luxury liner which left for Cuba with 937 passengers, virtually all Jewish refugees.
We got on that ship, and we're on our way to freedom.
Dearest husband, the next ship brings your family.
That's my grandmother over here. That's my mom. And here is a little kid with his head on the rail, with a handkerchief flooding over, and that's me. I was 3.5 years old.
But anti-Semitism had beaten the St. Louis across the ocean. Cuba said no, no Jews.
Ship, St. Louis, May 29, 1939. On the ship, the mood is desperate as we are uncertain if we can land in Havana.
For 7 days, the ship sat in Havana Harbor, safety just a few hundred yards away.
I was fantasizing, you know, like how these people were like free to go where they wanted to, and it was just a great fantasy.
Reality was different. Each day, Henry's father would take a small boat out into the harbor to wave at his family.
And they would say, I love you, don't give up, everything will turn out all right, we'll get you here. Hope, 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 hope. If you read my mother's letters ever, it would be, she was in touch with that, you know, and so near yet so far.
Ship, St. Louis, June 1st, 1939. Please, dearest Ferry, do not be so discouraged. I have to remain strong because I am the support for two people who rely on me. Even if we only see each other from the deck, it means a lot to at least see each other.
So whenever I saw him in that boat, it was always with him this way. And very often he would cry.
And talk directly to his golden child.
I would always be, Heinzi, sei gut, sei gut, sei ein guter Junge, be a good boy. Sei ein guter Junge, sei gut zu deiner Mutter, be good to your mother, listen to what she says. She knows, she knows.
And by now, she knew the situation was bleak. Desperate negotiations to enter Cuba failed, so after thousands of miles at sea, the St. Louis steamed 90 miles more to Florida.
It seemed that I'd heard on the ship that if we got into the United States, we'd be safe forever. That would be like going to heaven.
Instead, the United States of America sent the passengers back to hell. Again, no refugees, no Jews. So nearly a month after leaving certain death in Europe, the Freedom Ship was heading back to certain death. Those on board left only with visions and echoes.
Heinzi, sei ein guter Junge, be a good boy.
Amsterdam, the Netherlands, city of canals, city of culture, and in World War II, a city of fear.
Amsterdam, October 9th, 1942. Dear Kitty, our many Jewish friends are being taken away by the dozen.
Behind a bookcase.
These people are being threaded by the Gestapo without a shred of decency.
Up the stairs.
Being loaded into cattle trucks and sent to Westerburg, the big Jewish camp in Trente.
A teenage girl wrote of the Holocaust to come.
We assume that most of them are murdered. The English radio speaks of their being gassed.
While Anne Frank was writing her diary, a couple of miles away from her hideout lived another Jewish child, too young to write, but not too young to remember.
This is just the way it was. Let's see. It's over here somewhere. I know it's near a corner. 52. Right. 50, right here.
52 Hemmenestraat, Amsterdam, home
Right
after the St. Louis.
This is it. This is the front of the building. And we lived on the 3rd floor, which would be all the way up here.
For a while, a refuge for a family on the run from Hitler.
June 22nd, 1939.
Grandmother Regina wrote to her son, Franz, Henry's father.
You probably read in the papers about everything that happened to us. The last days were really without hope, until finally help came. 4 nations accepted us: England, France, Belgium, and Holland.
Holland took 181. Amongst those 181 were the 3 of us.
Henry, Elsa, and Regina were resettled here by a relief agency. The German occupation of Holland was months away.
It seemed much bigger when I was a child, and now it's very small looking.
So Henry came back to Europe to look again, to finally understand his own story for himself, and so he could better tell that story to others.
Is it troubling that there is no sign that you lived here, that anything happened here? Or is that good, that life goes on?
It's troubling to me that everything kind of like has gone by, except I can see, I can go back and remember what was.
Remember that daily life here, at least at the beginning, was almost normal.
I would play with a tricycle a lot.
But that innocence would not last long. In May 1940, the Nazis occupied Holland. Now, normal was about to become very different.
I think my grandmother was very much of a lookout. And in fact, I sometimes got to rely on the fact that she was there. I would sometimes kind of look up.
For more than 2 years, Henry and his family became virtual prisoners in their own neighborhood.
I needed to be watchful that, you know, some guy didn't walk over to me and kind of grab me because I had a star. I did have a star on.
You were fair game.
Yeah, fair game.
As the threats mounted, Henry's mother still clutched tight to her dream, family.
March 20th, 1941. My dearest Pharaoh, our life ahead of us will be beautiful.
As I'm reading this right now, I'll tell you the truth, I feel her tremendous amount of strength.
You are my life, and Heinzi is part of you. Let's talk now about our golden boy. His greatest wish is to be with his daddy. You will give him courage.
So, you know, I'm looking at this and I'm saying, my God, lady, how are you doing this?
But Henry also remembers that one woman's strength was no match for a dozen soldiers.
You could hear him coming. There would be troops in the house. This is how it looked. Knocking on the doors. Whew. That is kind of spooky for me. And we're not talking about knocking this way, we're talking about rifle butts. You heard people resisting, people being clopped out of their houses. And we would just kind of like hold our breaths that this wouldn't happen to us. And then quiet. Well, one day it did happen. The knock came to our door.
January 1943, Elsa was out. Henry was home with Grandma when the boots came. Grandma ordered 7-year-old Henry, get in the closet.
And I said, no, I'm staying with you. And this 81-year-old woman picked me up and literally plunked me into that closet and went like this and closed the door.
The minutes seemed like days. Henry heard the front door slam, waited, and stepped out. 52 Hemmenstraat was empty.
I never saw my grandmother again.
In the northern Dutch province of Friesland, there's a house called the Dille, named after a local stream. The house has been here for a century and a half, and the reason Henry Blumenstein is alive today is the people who lived here.
When you come down that street and turn the corner and see this place, how do you feel?
Whether I'm going this way or that way, it's oh, there's the Dille. It stands as a monument to me. As far as I'm concerned, this is a monument of where goodness has triumphed.
Goodness in the form of Johannes and Sjalkje Dijkstra, the Dutch farm couple who took Henry in, saved his life. But before Henry could get to the Dille, Elsa Blumenstein had to make a decision, an agonizing decision.
I was aware of the fact that I was no longer safe anywhere.
After Henry's grandmother was taken, Elsa and Henry began running. A day here, a week there, 2 or 3 months, always looking. Then it stopped.
And I remember this scene so well. 2 people appeared. My mother said to me in German, Heinzi, du gehst nicht mit. You're not going with me. Du gehst mit diese Frau. It was a woman. You're going with this woman. Ich gehe mit dieser Frau. I'm going with this woman.
Heinzi had no idea then, but it was the ultimate expression of a mother's love. Running together was too difficult. Split up, Elsa figured, each had a better chance.
I think her feelings were that this is the last thing I can do for my child.
And the cherished hope of finding family dashed.
Reunification was no longer the priority. The priority had shifted drastically to survival.
And so in March 1943, they parted, never together again. Scared, angry, and confused, 7-year-old Heinzi was bundled up by the Dutch underground and taken to the Dilla.
Here I was, and nobody kind of said, hello, welcome. Here I was, come in. I was given something to eat, I think. Nobody introduced me to anybody, and I was told to go to bed.
Hurry up, you're late. What am I doing here? You always ask me that. Yeah. You always ask me what am I doing here. Yeah.
What are you doing here? That's probably the exact same question 7-year-old Theo Dijkstra had in 1943 when another 7-year-old showed up unannounced. But Theo's parents, Johannes and Sjalkje Dijkstra, would not let on.
He was coming the next morning when we waked up. We came here. He was there. That's our guest. That's all.
Henry Blumenstein's search for family brought him back to the Dilla, to the only surviving Dijkstra child who speaks English. The house has a different owner now, but otherwise looks the same as it did during World War II. Although after 6 decades, it's understandable there might be disputes.
Potato salad. Now
Exactly the same as it was.
No windows.
Yeah, a little window.
No windows.
Yeah, a little window.
See, we disagree.
But if two old friends disagree about the little things, there's no dispute whatsoever about the big thing, what Johannes and Sjalkje Dijkstra did.
It was her duty. I see it so.
The duty of a farmer and his wife. A farmer and his wife with 8 children and little else.
You must not forget, it was very poor.
That's right.
It was a great family, not a few of cows. We had only
6 cows.
Meat, we had milk, we had butter, we had cheese.
We had 6 cows.
But further on, there was nothing.
6 cows, 1 horse,
Yeah.
and a wagon.
But for a 7-year-old boy running for his life, this dirt-poor farmhouse full of strangers became heaven. Henry calls the Dijkstras his foster parents and something else.
I call them Oom and Tante, and I capitalize my O and I capitalize my T. Oom means uncle, Tante means aunt, and I capitalize both. I respect them as much as I respect my mother. I think Oom used to sit there. Yeah, okay.
Table was
The table was
turned,
otherwise, right.
and then Oom was there, Tante was there.
There. Right.
12 persons.
Could you believe that?
3 on a
bench.
On a bench. 3, then 3 each side,
Right.
and 3
that way.
There were 12.
12 people, the Dijkstra family, plus Henry, plus another visitor named East Trop. The Dijkstras called him Fritz, another Jewish boy. But East was Dutch and looked it. Henry looked different. He started school, but
I looked too Jewish. I had to be taken out of school.
still, Oom and Tante did whatever they could to make Henry feel wanted.
I was included in everything. I was a child with everything.
Well, almost everything. If Henry, Hans Bacher, could hide in plain sight in church, there were other times he just had to hide.
This is a place where I sometimes spent some time.
Right.
Here. Because we were...
When he was hidden.
Yes, when I was hidden.
The potato cellar.
Yeah. My God, I'm too big for this. My God, yes.
A place to go when Nazi trucks rumbled by.
There were potatoes here, you have to also remember. There were a lot of potatoes. And we would crawl out get a space, probably really under here, and then gather the potatoes again around us so that we would not be even recognized if somebody came down here. You know, we would spend sometimes hours here.
It was scary, but also reassuring. Secure because of Ohm. Secure in the cellar. Secure in the barn.
Ah!
Even in a place where most people would step lightly, for Henry, it's a walk through memories.
I like the smell because it connects me with a time in my life where I was scared and I was vulnerable. It's an odor way of that I lived with that doesn't die in you. It doesn't go away.
An odor which brings back thoughts of working here with Ohm and Tanta.
I mean, just being near these people comforted me.
But it was more than just comfort. It was life.
The man had a instinct about danger. I was helping Ohm.
Yeah.
He was around here somewhere. He said to me, Hans, ga weg. Get out of here. So, you know, where would you run? Where would you go? What would be a good place to go to? And lo and behold, a German soldier came in. And young whippersnapper, like 20 years old maybe. But he was a big shot because he had a German uniform on. And that's when the soldier came in this way, over here. And he walks over to my foster father and kind of looks at him very straight and very close, takes out his shotgun and points it right at his head, and right here. And he says, you have Jews. I want your Jews.
By now, Henry was hiding. If Ohm had shown the slightest bit of fear, the German soldier would have known something was up and would have kept looking.
That's where he told them, if I have Jews, you can have them. Well, where are they? You find them. And the guy kind of didn't know what to do with that. So he finally just took the gun, put it back, and kind of went to him, pushed him, and walked out.
While German soldiers were definitely a threat, perhaps a bigger threat came from the Dijkstras' own Dutch neighbors, many of whom were more than willing to turn in Jews in order to get a reward from the Nazis.
There were people that came around here once in a while. There would be one person, and Ohm would catch. And he'd tell him, boy, very quickly, you come up here again, I'll shoot you, I'll kill you. And he would be perfectly okay to do that.
One way to keep nosy neighbors away from the Dilla, keep information away from the children. Adults could keep a secret, especially a life or death secret. Children might accidentally let it out.
Well, you know, how long is he going to stay, remember?
Yeah.
How long is he going to stay? I don't know.
It was real. We didn't know.
And we didn't know.
We didn't know how long he would stay.
And that was the protection.
We didn't know that they would stay until the end of the war. We didn't know that they were hiding for we only knew that was in our mind. It's never said to us. But in our mind we knew there was some danger with that two boys. But we didn't know exactly what.
The Dijkstras did eventually tell their children the truth about Hans Bakker after the war. But they did not tell many others, not even relatives. There was no bragging. Johannes and Sjoukje Dijkstra were quiet heroes. And that's another reason Henry came back to Europe, to start people talking.
Their attitude is, look, we did it, and it's done, and let's forget about it. And I'm the person who's saying, you did it, it's done, let's not ever forget about it. I don't live in the past necessarily. I do remember the past.
Remember the little boy at the Dilla, the little boy who had found safety, security, family.
Did they love you?
In their way. Yeah, I think they love me.
But someone else loved Henry too, Elsa, and Henry still needed answers about what exactly happened to his mother after hope was lost.
My mother would do things that were really risky.
It was near the railroad tracks, ironically just 10 miles from the Dilla, where Elsa Blumenstein was hiding in a safe house. But when the Gestapo came knocking one day in April 1943, Elsa had left a critical clue in plain sight.
They found her passport, which had a J in it. Now, when you go into hiding, you get rid of all that stuff. She didn't.
She was hoping that somehow you guys would get reunited with your dad.
She was committing suicide. She'd given up.
Her husband was gone. Her mother-in-law, gone. Her son, gone. 4 years of hope, now hopeless.
I think it was a sense of desperation, of failure, of what the hell, you know, I've done everything I can. This is the end.
The Nazis had murdered Elsa Blumenstein's spirit. Soon, they would murder her. Now, Henry's search for family was about to enter its most painful phase, tracing his mother's final moments. Camp Westerbork, Henry's next stop, where Jews were taken in Holland before they were taken somewhere else to be exterminated. Railroad tracks brought them in, trains to death camps shipped them out.
And this is where my mother came to straight from her hiding place. She was transported almost immediately after she was caught.
But now, as Henry's journey became more difficult, at least he would have company.
And if they would run away, they would immediately put their family on transport.
This person's name, a familiar name, Sjoukje Dijkstra, named in honor of her grandmother, the woman who helped save Henry.
I read the letters his mother wrote, so I knew her a little bit.
This Sjoukje first learned of Henry when she was a teenager.
I think it's very emotional.
And by default, became the family's ambassador to its own past.
Hello, Hans. I, the little one of the family, have been chosen to write this letter. My father can speak English.
It was the late 1970s. Oom and Tante were deceased, and Henry had long since lost touch with the family which kept him alive. But for some reason, he felt compelled.
I don't know what made me decide. It was 32 years later.
Henry wrote to the only address in Holland he had, one of the Dijkstras sons.
My father could talk English, but he couldn't write. And he said, somebody has to write Henry, and that's you.
Something clicked. The letters continued. Henry's mission became Sjoukje's too, almost father-daughter, reliving her grandparents' heroism.
They didn't thought of the danger when they decided to take these two Jewish boys in their house. We take them in the house because they need a safe place. And my grandparents were also people, when they said yes, it stays that.
And so when Henry came to Westerbork...
This is very powerful to me. It's almost like looking at grave sites.
Sjoukje Dijkstra was with him, almost representing Oom and Tante and their humble goodness.
They only would say, we did what we have to do. We had to do at that moment, and nothing more.
There are 100,000 stones at Westerbork, each with a Star of David, each representing someone who was brought here. Anne Frank, Regina Blumenstein, Elsa Blumenstein.
Somewhere around here. Let's see. I think it was around here.
Henry even chose one star to represent himself, not unusual for Holocaust survivors, wondering why they survived, wondering if they should have, wondering again about his mother.
I could have wound up here, and she could have been alive, and maybe that's why I put myself in there with her.
I think he tries to find his family here.
And not just memories of his family, but information. The records room at Westerbork. Open the books, the search for family is a bit closer.
Let's see.
Regina Blumenstein, listed as vermisst, missing, unaccounted for after arriving here.
Well, I'm assuming that probably she probably has died in Westerbork before she was even able to ship, because she was pretty ailing.
But there are more specifics on Elsa.
My mother, she was killed in Auschwitz.
Auschwitz, the most notorious of all the Nazi death camps. A death factory, really. Of the 6 million Jews exterminated by the Germans, as many as 2.5 million may have died there.
The hard thing about this is that I know where she went, and I can't go with her any further than this, except if I try to go to Auschwitz and perhaps kind of get a feeling for her existence there, kind of have in my head at least a conversation with her.
So together with Schalke, Henry had to go.
In my heart, I'd like to finish the story, at least for myself.
To the same place the death trains took their human cargo. Through the Polish countryside to a town the Poles call Oświęcim. But in 1940, Poland's Nazi conquerors made the name a bit easier for Germans to pronounce. They called it Auschwitz.
I mean, listen, when I stop talking, there's no sound. It's dead.
Arbeit macht frei. Words above the gate at Auschwitz. Cruel words, cynical words. Arbeit macht frei. Work makes you free. But nothing was free at Auschwitz. Nothing.
I cannot imagine my mother being here. I'm here, but I've only been here in my head.
Henry Blumenstein and Schalke Dijkstra came to Auschwitz to finish Henry's journey, to finish Elsa's journey.
Shoot. Either I'm going to explode, or I'm going to feel very little.
This is where the world ended for Henry's mother, perhaps at Auschwitz I, which opened in 1940, or the larger Auschwitz II, 1941, Birkenau.
The silence here is almost deafening. The cold, piercing, the magnitude, enormous, and the appearance, that of an abandoned factory. But when this factory was operating, it was a meticulously planned assembly line of killing. Now, chimneys at the burned-out barracks stand as unintended monuments to the dead.
Once you pass through the tower, you're kind of, you're gone from the world.
There are no words on the Birkenau gate. No Arbeit macht frei. It was obvious. Most who came in on these tracks would never leave. The end of the line.
That it happened to my mother, I can't do anything about. That it happened to 1 million people here, I can't relate to it because it's unimaginable.
Still, Henry had to know what exactly happened to his mother.
She doesn't belong here.
Did she live here a day, a month, a year?
The mother that nurtured me belongs in me, not the mother who was shamed and treated like an animal
Like they did to millions of others, did the Nazis steal her shoes, her luggage, and did they take her hair to make a blanket?
I can't even find the word to condemn them.
Sad, depressed, that people can treat each other that way. People like me, people like you, that one day we are friends and the next day we're killing each other. I cannot understand that.
In the hell which was Auschwitz, maintaining even a scrap of human dignity was a victory of sorts.
These are the barracks. Well, there are more barracks, I think, on the other side of there, that way.
Oh, yeah.
In one of the barracks, cheerful artwork, parents trying to reassure their children, and perhaps themselves, that there would be a future, just as Elsa Blumenstein tried to reassure Henry for all those years.
I could see my mother, for instance, if I was in here with her, I could see her, you know, kind of like making me, Heinzi, you know, look at this, look at what Mrs. Look at, you know, someday you'll be maybe going to school.
But most of the barracks had no such art, just enough to keep prisoners alive so they could work as slave labor for the Nazi war machine or be exterminated if they could not.
I don't even know whether she ever made it into one of these places, whether she wasn't directly taken to a gas chamber.
Bunks stacked one on top of another and holes for toilets.
They would literally sometimes hide in there among the stench.
Auschwitz is now a museum, maintained as a window to the past for public display. But to Henry, opening that window is painful.
It's too modern. It sounds silly, but it's kind of like modernized, and I can't imagine, you know, like comfort. Windows with sun shining through. You know, it's kind of crappy. It pisses me off a little bit. You know, like, I can't rebuild my family. I can't rebuild my grandparents. You know, I can't make them up. So shit. Well, why do this? I get very angry being in a place like this, especially this place. I mean, look at how this was constructed. Okay, now my mother went through what she went through to produce a curiosity that attracts people to come here and gape. That's exactly how I feel about this place.
But Henry has another feeling about this place. It's an odd contradiction, and he's the first to admit it.
It's a tremendous paradox.
While he's turned off, numbed, angered, Henry still wants others to see this place, understand it, learn its lessons.
I would like to see my children and my grandchildren and other people's children and other people's grandchildren to come here. I mean, you know, this place is unbelievable. It still bothers me why, you know.
Bothers him because it is so much a part of him, still the little child, reaching out. But Henry did not go to Auschwitz for memories alone.
I think I was drawn there. I mean, my mother was there.
He came here for information. And if the records room at Westerbork drove Henry here, would the records room at Auschwitz finally provide the answer he needed? What happened to his mother?
You should know that the majority of Jews who were deported to the Auschwitz were deported straight to gas chambers. So they have no registration, no camp numbers.
But some prisoners were registered. Some records do exist. So they searched for one name.
I'm very sorry, but we don't have any documents, any records about Elsa Blumenstein.
No record, no answer. Or maybe it was an answer. Elsa Blumenstein was probably at Auschwitz a matter of hours. Her last moments unknown. Her last thoughts, no doubt, of family.
I know that she was here, and the fact that she isn't on record here only means to me that either the records were destroyed or she never was registered. She came in here by train from Westerbork, which is about 2-3 hours, and she was immediately taken to the gas chamber.
The gas chamber, the crematorium, 20,000 people a day, day after day, year after year.
See, other ones were at shower heads.
Henry could have simply left Auschwitz and not come to the killing rooms, but in reality,
My God.
there was no way. Just as Henry was pulled to Auschwitz for information, he was pulled to this building to do what any child would do for a beloved parent. Pay his final respects.
This is my mother's grave. This is where she's buried. This is where she died. She was desecrated, but this is her grave. And I have to accept that.
It could have been Henry's grave, too. When Elsa Blumenstein was murdered, Henry was just 8 years old. Minimum age for slave labor at Auschwitz, 13.
If I would have been here with my mother, I would have perished with her. There's a part of me that says, that would have been okay. I mean, I can look at it now that I'm alive, but I would have had more time with my mother.
But less time, or no time, with Ohm and Tante.
I was given life by the Dijkstras, and that's a piece of love and that I'm grateful for, that I've lived with.
It's great what they did, and unfortunately not a lot of people did it, because if there were more people at that time who hide somebody, there were not that many people killed.
So to the Dijkstras I say, you know, that life with them further made life.
Life with a purpose.
That I'm alive to talk about this.
To talk about this with children, and with some very special people who should have known about Henry's story all along, but who had no idea. You see, Henry Blumenstein's search for family does not simply end at Auschwitz.
The only thing about Holland that I've forgotten is the language. I have not forgotten anything else about Holland.
In the tiny Dutch town of Oosterwierum, a bell tower stands guard over the village cemetery, tolling for two quiet heroes of the past, Ohm and Tante.
This becomes almost a monument, not only a grave.
A monument which, to Henry, was far too small, so it became his mission to make it larger, so the right people could see it clearly.
It's the ending of their life, but it's the beginning of their legacy.
That legacy would be passed on here. The Oosterwierum Community Hall. Today, a reunion, the Dijkstra family reunion. This hall used to be the village school, the same school where 60 years ago a little boy was kicked out for looking too Jewish. Now, that little boy is back, reaching out again.
So what I want you to know is that this is very important to me, to talk with you.
Important enough to invite every living Dijkstra he could find, Ohm and Tante's surviving children, their grandchildren, and their great-grandchildren.
Most of you don't know me. Griet knows me, Theo knows me, Anna knows me, Deda knows me. They lived with me, but most of everyone else really doesn't know about me because very little has been said about me. And that's because I was a child that needed to be hidden.
With a story that was hidden as well, hidden from virtually everyone in this room, in this family.
But now I can talk.
And so he did.
See, I'm 67 years old, and I am one of the youngest survivors. I'm one of the youngest survivors alive. So I have a lot of work to do.
Work teaching about Kristallnacht, the St. Louis, the one family picture.
We started here, ripped apart, never got together again.
Himonistraat.
We would hear boots coming up the stairs.
Ze hoorden laarzen de trappen opkomen.
His grandmother, his mother.
There my mother informed me I would not be going with her. And of course, as I look back, my mother was right, because I lived and she didn't.
Westerbork.
First, she was taken to Westerbork.
En ze werd naar Westerbork gebracht en daarna naar Auschwitz.
Auschwitz.
And was taken to Auschwitz, and there she was killed. And one of my missions, my desire is that this time not be forgotten.
And that something else not be forgotten as well, the legacy of Oom and Tante, two people who did the right thing when so many others did the wrong thing, or just as bad, did nothing.
These people were, they did something that ordinary people wouldn't do. And I'm very grateful to them because
En ik ben heel trots op hun.
Because without them I wouldn't have two sons. So I think, to just conclude, I think Johannes and Sjoukje Dijkstra need to continue to be important in your lives because they started something that you all should be very proud of. You should take a lot of pride in the people that they were and what they did and the values they held.
Values to live by and a story to live with.
I didn't know anything about the story he told today.
This is all new to you?
It's all new to me, yes.
New for a reason. What happened in the Dilla stayed in the Dilla. Quiet heroism.
I think they were people of doing and not talking.
So now Henry pleaded for a new generation of doers, the young people.
I really didn't know what I had to expect.
The Dijkstra great-grandchildren learned in school of a Holocaust victim in their own country, but not of Holocaust heroes in their own family.
Do you think that message will get out? Is it the kind of thing that, you walk out of here and you kind of go, yeah, fine?
No, I'm not going to do that. I think I'm going to tell some friends of mine what told here and how some just normal people can protect some other people. Because I think I'm going to tell that it's great.
Success. Henry had gotten through to the very people he needed to touch, the Dijkstras, the children. But in getting through to them, Henry Blumenstein also began to get through to someone else, himself. You see, for 60 years, Henry Blumenstein had been questioning, why did the Dijkstras save him? The answer? Faith.
I mean, this place is, if you have an answer about heroism, if you want to have a motivation for why these people did what they did, it lies right in here. This is what the foundation of why they did what they did. It's right in here. And it became very clear.
And so the Jewish altar boy came back to church to pray one more time. And this time his prayers were answered. Because when Henry Blumenstein found the Dijkstras, something else happened too. The Dijkstras found him.
Hier voor nu aan de linkerkant, daar zit mijn, nou ik zou maar zeggen mijn broer. Hij heeft me nooit zien, maar hij heeft 3 jaar bij ons in Holland.
What really touched me was that he called Henry his brother. He's my brother and he is one of the family.
Never said that before.
Not openly. No, never.
I mean, when Theo got up at church, This is the first time I had heard him really call me brother. My brother is sitting up front on the left. That made this something that they were willing to accept. And I hope that I can be part of your family. I'd like that very much.
This time, when a little boy reached out, everyone reached back.
The lesson is that where there is darkness, there is light. And you just gotta, you have to be lucky enough to attract that light. And I was lucky enough to attract that light. This is me, and that's, I feel like I'm part of your family.
Dat ben ik, en ik heb het gevoel dat ik een deel van jullie familie ben.
And now you know all about me, and there's no mystery anymore.
En nu weten jullie alles van mij, en er is geen geheim meer.
I thank you.
You have a big family now.
Yes, I know I have a big family.